Welcome back to the Taiken Ramen channel. Today we're making a marvelous Mazemen, or brothless ramen. The absence of broth makes this dish perfect for hot girl summer, being a little cooler and less heavy than a traditional ramen. It's also really simple to make. In fact, I think the hardest part of making this Mazemen was just learning to let go of the broth.
If you love me, let me go.
We'll start by creating the Ryu chili oil. For this oil, we'll need Szechuan peppercorns, Szechuan chili flakes, and a neutral flavored oil. We're going to separately measure out 15 grams of the peppercorns and 30 grams of the flakes. The peppercorns are going to contribute a really interesting tongue-tingling property, while the flakes are going to contribute lots of Szechuan flavor and red color. Once those are measured out, we're going to head over to the stovetop and measure out 1 cup of our oil. Heat this up until it starts to shimmer. Then add your peppercorns and cook until they begin to brown and gently smoke. This should only take about 5 minutes. At this point, we're going to strain the oil and peppercorns out over the flakes into a heat-proof vessel. Make sure you do this on a heat-proof surface as well, because this is going to be dangerously hot. Once strained, get in there with some chopsticks and stir to ensure that everything is evenly cooked. If done correctly, you'll have a sort of delicious lava lamp situation going on, but it will eventually settle into a flavoring oil that will really set your ramen apart. And there you go, Ryu complete. Next, we're making katsuboshi salt. You will need bonito fish flakes and salts. I'm using smoked sea salt and a Himalayan rock salt for a deep mineral flavor with a smoky finish. We're going to measure out equal parts of fish flakes to salts by weight. I gathered 20 grams of bonito, 10 grams of the smoked sea salt, and 10 grams of the Himalayan salt. Once measured, we'll grind everything up, and if you have a lot of free time, you could use a mortar and pestle, which I tried in a previous episode. You guys will witness here the moment that I decided that I will be buying a spice grinder in the future, because this took quite a bit of time. So now I bust out my shiny new spice grinder and lean back to admire this beautiful little cheat code hard at work. I did have to agitate things a bit to get the party started, but overall this was way faster and easier than using the mortar and pestle. And there you have it, katsuboshi salt complete. Alright, on to the nudes. These noodles were very similar to my previous tsukemen noodles, with the addition of whole wheat flour as an adjunct for texture, and the substitution of a smoked sea salt as a way to create a totally cohesive dish between the noodles and the tare. I used a squirt bottle to combine my water, Kansui, salt, and riboflavin, because that allowed me to direct where I hydrated the Saboro as it mixed in the KitchenAid. I got the stand mixer started with the dry ingredients, then drizzled in the Kansui water, and then I let the stand mixer finish hydrating and mixing. The rest was pretty standard. Saboro went into a Ziploc bag and got pressed into a sheet, then rested 30 minutes. After that, I rolled it out into a dough, limited to 2 laminations for firmness, and then thinned it out. I only went to a 5 thinness setting today because I wanted the noodles extra thick so that they could carry as much tare as possible. This did require a 2-minute cooking time when I boiled them, but it was worth it.
Give it to me, I'm worth it. Baby, I'm worth it.
I cut the noodles into 140 gram portions and then dusted with cornstarch and squeezed in order to give them some more texture and crinkles. Boom, noodles complete. For the final assembly, I used 1 egg yolk for substance, 1 tablespoon Ryu for heat, 1 teaspoon katsuboshi salt for sharpness and smoke, 1 teaspoon brown sugar for sweetness, 1 tablespoon koikuchi shoyu for smoothness and tang, a pinch of sesame seeds for texture, 1 clove crushed garlic for aroma, and then finally the noodles. Once together, toss everything for even coating, and then squeeze out a little lemon juice on top for an astringency to cut through the heavy seasonings. I topped this bowl with a 4-day ajitama, chilled salmon sashimi, nori, some scallion shreds, and a shilgochu pepper garnish. And here are the other bowls I made for my guests. This bowl was an absolute delight. The noodles were my favorite part and had a good mix of body and slurpability. The tare was well balanced between heat and sweet, and when the Szechuan oil mixed with the lemon juice, it had this light, numbing property that made your whole mouth tingle. The salmon did a great job of cooling things off, so there was just enough variety without being too overwhelming. Especially considering there was no broth to make, this ramen goes down as an all-time favorite for me. Thank you for joining me for another recipe. Are you brave enough to try these tongue-tingling noodles? Let me know. I'll see you next time. Please consider subscribing for more.